Good morning, dear friend. Let's sit together for a moment. Imagine we're on a quiet porch just as the sun begins to rise. The birds are already up chirping softly in the distance. A warm cup of tea rests beside you, the steam curling up like a whisper. Your favorite shawl draped over your shoulders. You look out and see a small patio, nothing fancy, but it holds promise. A few clay pots, a faded garden gnome, maybe an old chair tucked in the corner. The kind of space that feels quiet, but never empty. This moment, this peaceful morning, it reminds us that you don't need acres of land or expensive decor to create beauty. You don't need a strong back or a thick wallet. You simply need care and a little imagination. In fact, some of the most charming gardens I've ever seen were built not with store-bought supplies, but with second-hand treasures and stories. An old teacup becomes a home for mint. A rusty chair becomes a stage for flowers. These aren't just projects. They're memories you can touch. You've lived through seasons more than you can count. And with each season, you've learned how to make do, to make beautiful, to make things grow. That same spirit lives in your hands still and in your eyes, when you look at something not for what it is, but for what it could become. Today, I want to share 15 gentle garden ideas, especially for you, ideas that honor smaller spaces and tender bodies that cost very little but bloom with possibility. Whether your garden is a patio, a porch, or a sunny corner by the door, there is always room for joy to grow. So pour yourself another cup. Let's begin. Remember those old teacups you used to bring out for company. Maybe one is chipped at the rim or its saucer went missing years ago. But you've kept them not for tea perhaps, but for the memories steeped inside. Now it's time to give those little cups a second life. A teacup herb garden is perfect for tiny spaces and for gentle hands that would rather not lift anything heavy. All you need is a few small cups, a bit of potting soil, and some herb clippings or seeds. Basil, parsley, thyme, whatever you love to smell and snip. If your cup doesn't already have a crack, you can gently place a few pebbles at the bottom for drainage, or use a spoon to scoop out just enough soil to keep roots breathing. Arrange them on a tray, maybe an old silver one from a thrift shop, and keep it near a window or outside on a small table. If bending is difficult, this whole little garden can sit waist high where you can reach it standing up or seated with ease. Water lightly, just enough to keep the soil moist. Herbs are forgiving. They don't ask for much, just a bit of sun and someone who cares. There's something tender about watching herbs grow from a cup that once held your morning tea. It's a quiet reminder, even things that no longer serve their original purpose can still nourish us in new ways. A chipped teacup, like a seasoned soul, can hold life again. And when you pinch off a bit of mint for your drink or a sprig of basil for supper, you're not just seasoning your food. You're tasting the beauty of reuse, of resilience. Still useful, just like us. Do you remember that old wooden chair from the kitchen? The one with a wobble in the leg or the worn spot where your grandchild once stood to help stir cookie dough? Maybe it's too unstable to sit on now, but don't throw it out just yet. That chair is ready for one last act in the garden. Turning an old chair into a flower stand is simple and striking. If the seat is already broken or missing, that's perfect. Just nestle a medium-sized flower pot right into the empty frame. If the seat is still intact, you can use a small saw to cut a round hole in the middle just large enough for a pot to rest inside snugly. No heavy lifting or bending. This can be done slowly, carefully, even while seated on a stool. Once the pot is in place, choose blooms that make you smile. Geraniums for their cheer, petunias for their easy care, or trailing ivy for a bit of old-world charm. You can even paint the chair in soft pastels, or leave it weathered. Either way, it will look like poetry on your patio. Set your chair in a sunny corner against a wall or railing where it won't wobble. Maybe even tuck a solar lantern underneath, or hang a little wind chime from the backrest. Suddenly, what was once forgotten becomes the star of the show. There's something beautiful about giving that old chair another purpose, something no one else would expect. It stood for many things in your life: meals, family, laughter. Now it stands for flowers. And maybe in a quiet way, it also stands for you. Maybe you've got a pair of old rubber rain boots tucked away in the back of a closet. They might be too snug now, or maybe they've cracked at the heel. Still, there's something sweet about them. Maybe they remind you of your gardening days or of your grandson splashing in puddles years ago. Either way, those boots have one more story to tell. Rain boot planters are charming upright and, best of all, easy on the back. There's no bending or heavy lifting required. You simply set the boots wherever you'd like, along the patio edge beside the front steps, or even grouped in a little boot parade by the fence. If the soles are cracked, they're already perfect. That's your drainage built in. If not, you can gently poke a few holes in the bottom using a screwdriver or sturdy nail. Next, drop in a few small stones or broken terracotta pieces at the bottom, then fill the rest with potting soil. Choose plants that spill over gently, like marigolds trailing lobelia or even leafy herbs. The vertical shape of the boot helps keep things tidy and upright, and the rubber material holds moisture well. You can even mix and match colors or paint them yourself. Add names, add dates. Make each one a tiny tribute to something that mattered. They become more than just planters. They become garden memories you can stand beside and smile at. In the end, there's something playful and powerful about watching something once meant for stomping become a quiet home for growth. Like us, it may no longer travel far, but it can still hold beauty right where it stands. Do you remember those wire shower caddies from back in the day, the ones that hung over the bathroom head holding soap, shampoo, and maybe a rubber duck or two? Even if it's a little rusty or bent, that humble caddy is ready for a brand new purpose under the sun. A shower caddy makes a surprisingly elegant vertical garden, especially for small patios where floor space is limited. And here's the beauty: it hangs. No bending, no digging, no straining. Just a few simple hooks or a nail on your fence railing or even an exterior wall will do. Line the compartments with coconut liner or coffee filters to hold in soil. Then gently nestle in small plants. Think herbs like thyme or oregano, or trailing plants like sweet potato vine or alyssum. You can even place lightweight plastic pots directly into the shelves if you prefer to skip the soil altogether. For seniors who prefer to garden standing or seated without crouching, this setup is ideal. You can reach everything at eye level or arm height. Plus, it's light enough to take down and rearrange when seasons change or blooms fade. You might even find a few caddies on your next trip to the thrift store. They often go unnoticed on the bottom shelf, priced just $1 or $2, waiting patiently to be rediscovered. Once you've hung yours and filled it with green life, it transforms. It's no longer a bathroom fixture, it's a garden gallery. In a way, that's what aging gracefully is all about, isn't it? Taking the old parts of life and finding a new rhythm for them. Giving the overlooked a second chance to shine with grace, with charm, and with quiet usefulness. Remember that old dresser in the garage, the one with the sticking drawers and missing knobs. Maybe it's seen better days, but those drawers, oh, they still hold stories. Socks folded by young hands, letters stashed away, trinkets from long ago. And now, believe it or not, they can hold something new, a little garden of their own. A drawer box garden is one of the easiest raised garden ideas you can make. No hammer, no nails, and no need to bend. Just pull out a drawer, clean it up, and place it on a bench, a table, or even an old plant stand at waist height. That way, everything is within easy reach. Line the bottom with plastic or a layer of old newspaper to help protect the wood. Then add some drainage holes if the drawer doesn't already have cracks. A few small holes made with a screwdriver are enough. After that, add potting soil and your favorite plants. Shallow-rooted flowers like pansies, lettuce, or succulents thrive in this kind of space. If the drawer is deep, go ahead and add a layer of rocks at the bottom to help with water flow. You can leave the wood as is, weathered and warm with time, or paint it in soft garden colors, sage green, dusty rose, or robin's egg blue. Add a little label if you like. Hope, joy, or simply bloom. What's special about this idea is how accessible it is. You can tend to your plants while standing or sitting. You don't need to dig or carry. And each drawer becomes a self-contained world of beauty, organized, charming, and alive. It's a lovely thing when a drawer once used to tuck things away becomes a space to let things grow. Maybe we're not so different. We too still have room to grow even in the quiet corners of life. Have you ever looked at an old kitchen colander, the kind with little holes all around, and thought, this could hold more than pasta? Maybe it sat in your cupboard for decades, draining noodles or berries. Well, it turns out that same colander can cradle something even more beautiful now, Blossoms. A colander makes a perfect hanging basket, and the best part is it already has built-in drainage. No extra drilling, no fuss. Just find a colander with a handle or two and you're halfway there. If it's metal and a little rusty, that only adds to the charm. Or if it's plastic, you can paint it in gentle garden colors to soften the look. To create your hanging garden, start by lining the inside with coconut coir moss, or even a reused grocery bag with small holes poked in it. This will help hold the soil in place while allowing water to drain. Fill it with potting soil and add some plants that cascade gently like petunias, lobelia, or even strawberries. Attach twine rope or lightweight chains to the handles and hang your basket on a sturdy hook from a pergola railing or tree branch. The whole project is light easy and can be done from a seated position. Best of all, it brings color and life to eye level, no bending required. And every time you look at it, you'll see more than a basket of flowers. You'll see a bit of your story, your hands, your cleverness. That old colander once meant to strain and drain now overflows with life. Isn't that the magic of aging, turning utility into beauty? Giving old things and ourselves a chance to be more than anyone expected. Even a kitchen tool, when filled with care, can become a thing of joy. There's something tender about a well-worn step stool. Maybe yours once helped you reach the high shelf where the holiday dishes lived. Or maybe it sat near the pantry, a quiet helper through decades of cooking, cleaning, and caregiving. Its steps may be scratched now, paint chipped a little uneven, but like us, it still stands. That same little stool with just a bit of imagination can become a beautiful plant display, especially perfect for small patios or porches. And best of all, it does all the lifting and layering for you. No need to reach down to the ground or find places to hang things. Start by giving the stool a gentle wipe down. If you enjoy painting, you can refresh it with a coat of soft outdoor paint or keep its rustic charm untouched. Then place it in a corner where it will be stable and get just enough sunlight. Use each step like a shelf. Place small potted plants, think marigolds, herbs, or mini begonias on each level. For safety and ease, use lightweight containers like tin cans, plastic pots, or even upcycled mugs. If the stool is tall, the top can hold a trailing plant like ivy or sweet potato vine that cascades down gently. This layered look adds height and variety to your patio garden without taking up much space. And because the plants are elevated, tending to them can be done comfortably from a chair or standing without bending or crouching. Every time you glance at your blooming step stool, you'll be reminded that even small everyday things can rise to the occasion, just like you have again and again. It's not about being perfect or polished. It's about finding new use, new purpose in what's already yours. A stool that once helped you reach up now brings the garden up to meet you. Perhaps you've seen one at a thrift store, an old metal bird cage once home to a songbird, now sitting quietly with no one inside. Or maybe you have one stored in the attic, still holding the echoes of chirps and fluttering wings. Though the birds may have flown, the cage itself still has something to offer. An empty bird cage makes a lovely, enchanting home for flowers, especially on a small patio where space is limited, but vertical beauty is welcome. Its shape and charm bring a touch of storybook wonder, and the best part is no tools, no digging, and no heavy lifting. Start by opening the cage. Inside nestle a small potted plant, something dainty and trailing like Vinca alyssum, or even a small fern. If the base is narrow, you can tie a shallow basket inside using garden wire or ribbon. Line it with moss or a soft cloth to hold the soil, then add your chosen plant. The bars offer partial shade and natural structure while still letting sunlight in. If the cage has a hook or loop, you can hang it from a shepherd's hook pergola beam or even place it atop a pedestal or table. It doesn't need to swing or move, just to sit and charm. A little fairy light or ribbon can add a touch of whimsy, too. What's lovely about the birdcage bloom display is the poetry it holds. A place once meant for confinement becomes a cradle for growth. A symbol of something once closed now blossoms open. It reminds us that even what once held limits can become a stage for life, for color, for grace. And perhaps in its own quiet way, it mirrors you, still capable of blooming in unexpected places, still full of beauty, still telling stories worth hearing. Think back to the humble tin can. How many of those have you opened over the years? Soups on chilly nights, beans for summer picnics, peaches in syrup when fresh fruit was out of reach. They've always been their silent helpers in your pantry. And now they can help your garden grow too. A tin can trellis garden is perfect for small patios and seniors who prefer not to crouch or lift heavy containers. Begin by saving a few large cans, coffee tins, tomato cans, or even oatmeal canisters with firm sides. Clean them thoroughly, and if you'd like, give them a coat of paint in cheerful colors. Pastels or soft greens look especially lovely in the garden light. Next, use a hammer and nail to punch a few drainage holes in the bottom of each can, just enough to let water escape. Fill the cans about 3/4 full with lightweight potting soil. Then choose climbing or trailing plants that thrive in containers: cherry tomatoes, sweet peas, nasturtiums, or even pole beans. Now for the trellis part. You can tie string or garden twine to the fence or railing behind the cans, or place a narrow wooden stake in each one for the plant to cling to as it grows. Line up the cans on a bench, patio wall, or shelf where they get good sun. Because they're light, you can arrange and rearrange them easily without strain. This project not only adds vertical beauty to your space, but it gives those old cans a second life. A life of green vines and gentle blossoms climbing upward with quiet ambition. It's a gentle metaphor, really. Something so ordinary, so often tossed aside, becoming a vehicle for growth. Like many of us, those cans have been through heat and pressure. And yet here they are, holding life again. Maybe it's hanging near your front door or buried in a closet, an old wooden mail organizer with little cubbies once used for keys letters and grocery lists. It might be dusty or a bit faded now, but that organizer is ready to become something far more delightful, a vertical, succulent garden. This project is ideal for seniors who prefer gardening from a standing or seated position. No soil spills, no bending, no tugging heavy pots. Just a bit of time, a few gentle touches, and a place to let something lovely grow. Start by giving the organizer a gentle wipe down. If it's unvarnished wood, consider brushing on a water-resistant sealant to help it weather the outdoors, or simply hang it in a covered patio area. You'll want to use shallow-rooted plants, so succulents are perfect: hens and chicks, echeveria, or string of pearls. Fill each cubby with a bit of potting mix made for succulents or cacti, or tuck in pre-potted mini plants if you'd rather skip the mess. You can secure them with a bit of moss, or gently wedge them in using small pebbles. These little green sculptures don't need much water and love being up where the light can reach them. Use a strong hook or nail to mount the organizer on a wall fence, or even prop it gently on a sturdy table against a railing. Every cubby becomes a framed piece of life, neat, compact, and full of personality. And every time you pass by, you'll be greeted not by bills and reminders, but by quiet, green things growing. It's like rewriting the story of that object, turning what once held burdens into something that brings lightness and beauty. Because even the compartments of our lives that once felt cluttered can become spaces of peace. With a little love, even a mail sorter can remind us it's never too late to hold something beautiful. Maybe there's an old metal toolbox tucked away in the shed, the one with the squeaky handle, and a bit of rust still smelling faintly of earth and oil. It may not carry hammers or nails anymore, but it's ready to carry something just as powerful: new life. A vintage toolbox makes a wonderful waist-high planter for small patios, especially for those who prefer not to kneel or bend. Its shape is perfect, long, narrow, and easy to move. You can place it on a garden bench, a sturdy table, or even a railing shelf where it's right within arm's reach. Begin by brushing out the inside, removing any debris or loose rust. If it's metal, a small drill can be used to create drainage holes along the bottom, or if the box is already worn through in places that might be drainage enough. If it's a wooden toolbox, even better, just line the inside with a bit of plastic or landscape fabric to protect the wood. Next, fill it about 3/4 full with potting mix. Choose plants that love a cozy home: bright pansies, small begonias, or even a row of lettuces. You can plant them in neat rows or create a miniature cottage garden of color and texture. If the handle still swings, you can carry your little garden around the patio to chase the sun. And when it rests in place, it becomes a rustic centerpiece full of charm and story. You might even tie a ribbon on the handle or write a word like "grow" or "grace" on the side. A toolbox once held tools for fixing. Now it holds tools for healing, color, fragrance, life, all within reach. And that's what aging offers us too, the chance to shift from fixing the world to simply nurturing what's beautiful. You've likely carried many loads in a laundry basket, shirts fresh from the line, tiny socks, table linens from holiday dinners. But once a basket gets cracked or loses its handles, it often ends up forgotten. Not anymore. That old basket is about to become a raised bed perfect for easy, no-bend gardening. This idea is simple, affordable, and especially helpful for small patios and anyone who prefers to avoid kneeling. Start with a plastic laundry basket, round or rectangular, either will do. If the basket has holes in the sides, you already have natural drainage. If not, you can poke a few gentle holes in the bottom using a screwdriver. Next, line the inside with landscape fabric, burlap, or even an old cotton sheet to keep the soil in place. Then fill the basket about 2/3 full with a lightweight potting mix. Because of its shape, this raised bed can sit right on a small table or plant stand, wherever is easiest for you to reach. Now you have a deep, accessible space to grow greens like lettuce, spinach, or radishes. Or try colorful flowers like zinnias or calendulas. You can even mix edible and ornamental for a basket that's as pretty as it is practical. What makes this project special is its comfort. No bending, no digging into the ground. Just a self-contained garden that's light enough to move, easy to tend, and entirely yours. It's gardening made gentle. And when you see that laundry basket once filled with work, now overflowing with growth, it might remind you that even the most ordinary parts of life can hold something extraordinary when we look again. Because in these golden years, our greatest harvest often comes not from effort, but from wisdom, care, and the joy of doing things our way. There may be an old picture frame leaning somewhere in your home, the kind that once held a wedding photo, a child's crayon drawing, or a peaceful landscape. The glass might be gone, the backboard warped, but the frame itself still holds beauty. And now it can hold more, a living portrait made of plants. Turning a picture frame into a vertical plant shelf is as poetic as it is practical. For seniors with small patios, it's a wonderful way to display plants at standing height. No digging, no stooping, just simple elegance you can enjoy every time you pass by. Start by finding a frame you love, big or small, square or oval. Remove any remaining glass or nails. Then behind it, attach a lightweight shelf, perhaps a narrow wooden plank, or even an old cutting board just wide enough to hold a couple of small potted plants. You can glue it, screw it in, or simply prop the shelf behind the frame and secure the whole piece against a wall or garden fence. Choose tiny pots or thrifted teacups filled with succulents, trailing ivy, or miniature flowers. You could also add decorative pebbles, fairy lights, or small figurines for a touch of whimsy. Mount the frame at a height that's comfortable for you, where you can admire it up close without needing to bend. It becomes a little window of life, a quiet gallery on your patio wall. What's lovely about this idea is the symbolism. A frame once used to display moments of the past now showcases new growth. It reminds us that life still moves forward gently, creatively, with grace. You are still the artist of your space, still the one who chooses what to nurture. And just like that empty frame, you are more than the past you've held. You're still growing into something beautiful. Do you still have a cake stand tucked away in the cupboard? Maybe it's glass with a little chip on the edge, or a porcelain one used long ago for birthdays and Sunday gatherings. Even if it hasn't held a cake in years, it can still hold something sweet. A miniature garden of joy. A cake stand makes a perfect base for a tiered garden on a small patio or table. It's already elevated, already elegant, and best of all, it brings the garden right up to your level. No bending, no soil on the ground. Just beauty at arm's reach. Start by choosing a sturdy cake stand with a flat top. If you have more than one, you can stack them carefully to create layers. Place a shorter one on top of a wider one, adding variety in height. Line the surface with small saucers or trays, then set mini potted plants in place. Succulents, baby violets, tiny ferns, or mossy patches all do well here. You can even create themes, one layer for herbs, another for flowers, and perhaps a tiny fairy garden nestled among pebbles and trinkets. Use items you already have: teacups, candle holders, small ceramic animals. The idea is to build something soft, quiet, and meaningful. Place your stand on an outdoor table or a shelf by your favorite chair. It doesn't take up much space, and the effect is pure charm. If you enjoy sipping tea outside, this little garden can be your centerpiece, something to tend, admire, and feel proud of. There's a sweet comfort in turning something once meant for celebration into a celebration of its own. A cake stand, after all, is about display, about making something feel special. And that's what this is. Not just a display of plants, but of you. Your eye, your care, your creativity still shining. There's a quiet kind of joy in starting from seed, watching something so small become something lush and green. And if you've ever baked muffins or cupcakes for little hands or big gatherings, chances are there's an old muffin tin in your kitchen, perhaps scratched or missing its nonstick shine. Don't toss it. It's the perfect place to begin again. A muffin tin makes a tidy, back-friendly seed starter tray, no special tools or expensive materials needed. Its small wells are just the right size for beginning your next round of blooms or veggies, all while sitting comfortably at a table or patio bench. Start by cleaning the tin gently, then add a layer of seed-starting soil to each cup. You can place a coffee filter or a small square of newspaper in the bottom of each one if you'd like easier transplanting later on. Next, tuck in your seeds. Marigolds, basil, cosmos, or lettuce are all lovely choices. Keep the muffin tin in a sunny spot where you can check on it daily. A misting bottle is perfect for watering gently without overdoing it. Within days or a week, you'll see tiny green shoots begin to reach up toward the light. And just like that, you've brought new life into the world right from your kitchen's leftovers. What's special about this idea is how compact and accessible it is. No stooping, no mess, and when your seedlings are ready, you can pop them out and transfer them into your larger containers or garden beds. This simple little tray becomes a symbol not just of gardening, but of second chances. A pan once used to feed bellies now helps feed the earth. It's a quiet reminder that beginnings don't have to be grand. Sometimes the smallest starts in the smallest cups grow into the loveliest things. So here we are, dear friend. After a gentle walk through small spaces and second chances, we've seen how a teacup can cradle mint, how a rusty boot can hold marigolds, and how even a muffin tin once filled with batter can now be filled with green hope. These aren't just garden ideas. They're quiet affirmations, reminders that beauty never asks for perfection. It simply asks for presence, for love, for a bit of care given freely. You don't need to lift heavy bags or dig deep holes to be a gardener. You don't need to chase after the latest trends or buy anything fancy. What you already have tucked away in cabinets, closets, memories is more than enough. Your hands still know how to create. Your heart still knows how to tend. Your soul still knows how to grow. And your garden, no matter how small, is proof that life continues to bloom in new and unexpected ways. A porch, a railing, a sunlit corner, they all become canvases for your creativity. Each upcycled treasure you plant with becomes a tribute to your resilience. Each blossom a soft celebration of the years you've lived and the joy still waiting to be uncovered. So tell me, which idea brought you the most joy today? Was it the birdcage filled with blooms or the herb-filled teacups lined up like a memory parade? I'd love to hear what you imagine planting next. And if these little stories brought a smile, consider subscribing just for more gentle inspiration when you need it most. Until next time, may your days be peaceful, your hands steady, and your garden, no matter how small, always feel like home. Happy gardening, dear friend.